Silence is often described as peaceful. But in medieval Europe, silence meant something else. It meant there was no bread baking, no animals in the fields, no voices in the marketplace, only the sound of stomachs tightening and people waiting to die. This is not a legend. This is not folklore. This is documented history. A time when hunger did something unthinkable. A time when morality collapsed. A time remembered by historians as the Banquet of Corpses. At the start of the 14th century, Europe was already fragile. Most people lived one failed harvest away from starvation. Food storage was limited, trade was slow, medicine was primitive, bread was life. When bread disappeared, everything else followed. Began. Not gentle rain, relentless rain. Fields flooded, seeds rotted underground, grain molded in storage. Chroniclers wrote, "The sky itself seemed cursed. Livestock died from disease brought by damp conditions. Milk vanished, meat vanished, bread prices tripled, then quadrupled. The poor were finished." Starvation is not quick. First comes weakness, then dizziness, then hallucinations. Medieval records describe people eating grass, chewing leather belts, scraping moss from trees. Children cried until they couldn't cry anymore. Parents watched them fade, and still, the rain continued. By winter, bodies lined the roads. Churchyards overflowed. Graves were shallow, sometimes shared. The dead became common, too common. And that familiarity changed something deep in the human mind. At first, cannibalism was unspoken. A missing corpse, a disturbed grave. People pretended not to notice. But medieval court records confirm flesh of the dead was consumed by the living, not monsters, ordinary people. This was not chaos. It was organized. Entire families gathered behind closed doors, candles lit, windows covered. Human flesh was cooked, salted, preserved. They ate in silence, not out of desire, out of survival. This is why historians later use the word banquet. Not because it was celebratory, but because it was deliberate. The most disturbing records involve children, abandoned, killed, consumed. Chroniclers wrote these accounts sparingly. Even medieval writers struggled to record what they saw. The church condemned cannibalism, but priests were starving too. Some turned away, some stayed silent. Faith weakened. People believed God had abandoned them. By 1317, the rains stopped. But Europe was broken. Millions were dead. Survivors never spoke of what they did. Families carried the secret for generations. History prefers heroes, not hunger, not desperation, not moral collapse. But this story matters because it proves something terrifying. Civilization is fragile, morality is conditional, and hunger can turn neighbors into monsters. The dead were not honored. They were eaten, not in madness, not in rage, but in silence. And that silence is why this story was almost forgotten. This was the Banquet of Corpses.